He leaned back in his chair at the crowded Italian restaurant, swirling his red wine like he owned the room, and laughed as he said it. Babe, once I close this next deal, we're set. Big house in the suburbs, kids running around, the whole dream. Just imagine it. Everyone at the long table, my parents, his sister, our closest couple friends, smiled and raised their glasses. I smiled too, but my hand tightened around my fork, because I knew the truth, and in that moment I decided the table deserved to hear it too. My name is Tessa. I'm 29, a project manager for a renewable energy firm here in Denver. Snow-capped mountains frame the skyline most days, and the air feels crisp even in summer. Nathan and I had been together 7 years. We met right out of college when we both interned at the same startup. He was the charismatic sales guy who could talk anyone into anything, and I was the quiet one who actually built the products he sold. We balanced each other, or so I thought. We moved in together after 3 years, talked about marriage constantly, saved for a ring he kept saying was coming soon. My parents adored him. His sister called me the sister she never had. Everyone believed we were the steady couple heading straight toward forever. But the cracks had been widening for over a year. He started traveling more for work trips that somehow always landed on weekends. He'd come home with new clothes I'd never seen, new cologne I didn't recognize. Our future talks turned into vague promises. Once this next round closes, after this quarter ends, intimacy faded into quick, distracted moments. I'd ask about timelines and he'd flash that easy grin and say I worried too much. I started to feel like a placeholder in my own life. The real fracture came 3 months before that dinner. I'd flown to Chicago for a conference and came home a day early to surprise him. The apartment was dark except for a glow from his office. The door was cracked open. I heard his voice, low and tender in a way I hadn't heard directed at me in years. I can't wait to start our life either, Liv. Once I figure out how to end things here, it's just us. My stomach dropped. I stood frozen in the hallway as he promised her the exact future he'd been dangling in front of me. Suburban house, kids, golden retriever. When he hung up, I slipped out quietly and checked into a hotel for the night. I needed space to breathe. I didn't confront him right away. I needed proof that wasn't just a late-night call. So I started paying attention. I found the second phone hidden in his gym bag. I read the messages, hundreds of them, spanning 14 months. Photos of hotel rooms. Plane tickets to places he'd told me were solo business trips. A saved voice note from her saying she loved him more than anything. The worst part wasn't the affair itself. It was how thoroughly he'd recycled every promise he'd ever made to me and handed them to her like they were brand new. I could have ended it privately. I could have waited until we were alone. But he kept performing the perfect boyfriend in front of our families, and that dinner felt like the final act. My parents had driven 4 hours from Colorado Springs just to celebrate us. His sister kept asking about wedding colors. So when he painted that picture again, big house, kids, the whole dream, I felt something shift inside me. The begging part of me went quiet. I set my wine glass down gently and looked straight at him. That sounds wonderful, Nathan. Funny thing though, you described the exact same future to Olivia last month when you thought I was asleep on that red eye. The table went still. Forks paused midair. His smile faltered, but he tried to recover with a nervous laugh. Tess, come on. What are you talking about? I pulled my phone from my purse, opened the screenshots I'd taken weeks earlier, and slid it across the white tablecloth so everyone could see. The messages filled the screen in black and white. His words to her about leaving me soon. About how she was his real future. About the house with the big yard he'd always wanted. I didn't raise my voice. I just let the evidence sit there between the breadbasket and the candle. His face drained of color. My mom's hand flew to her mouth. His sister stared at him like she didn't recognize her own brother. No one spoke for a long, heavy moment. Then I continued, calm and clear. You've been telling 2 women the same story for over a year. Tonight you told it again in front of everyone who loves us. So I figured they should know which version is real. He opened his mouth, closed it, tried again. You're taking it out of context. There's no context that makes this okay, I said. You don't get to keep selling a future you've already promised to someone else. My dad quietly signaled for the check. No one touched dessert. Nathan sat frozen while the rest of us gathered our coats. I hugged my parents in the parking lot, Told them I'd call tomorrow. His sister gave me a long silent embrace before walking away without looking at him. I moved out the next weekend while he was supposedly at a conference that didn't exist. Friends helped pack my things into a U-Haul. I took the dog, the plants, the books, everything that was truly mine. He texted apologies, then anger, then more apologies. I didn't reply. Therapy helped me untangle the years I'd spent shrinking my doubts to keep the peace. I learned that steady doesn't mean silent, and loyalty doesn't mean accepting lies. 6 months later, I'm in a sunny one-bedroom near Wash Park. I hike on weekends with friends who showed up when it mattered. I've started dating again, slowly, carefully, with someone who says what he means the first time. Nathan. Last I heard, Olivia left when the promises started feeling familiar to her too. Here's what I carry now. You don't owe anyone a performance of happiness to protect their image. When someone jokes about your shared future while living a different one, you're allowed to speak the truth out loud, even if it's at a table full of shocked faces. Real dignity isn't storming out or screaming. Sometimes it's just refusing to swallow one more lie. The people who truly love you will still be there when the dust settles. And the life you build afterward, quiet, honest, yours, feels steadier than any fake promise ever could.